Hi there, I'm Dustin, making another video for the Gay Group Relationships channel. I wanted to follow up a little bit on the video I made just the other day about different types and forms of relationships. As soon as I finished the video, I thought, oh, I missed some ideas I really needed to talk about. So I wanted to address just the idea of the scale from kind of a casual group relationship to something that's very structured and formalized. That's something that needs to be considered if things get serious to the point where there's shared accounts and things like this. That is going to be something where you might be needing to make contracts and formalized agreements, or it might be something casual. And this kind of got me to thinking about kind of things, types of relationships that I think might not work or might be very difficult to manage. And looking at that scale of informal to formal, if something is just really informal, people aren't taking it seriously, then I think that's going to be hard to make the group feel like it's actually something keeping people together that people can actually rely on. But if it's too structured and too rigid and too strict, then I think that's something that will make it very difficult. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I think for most people that would make it difficult to be in a situation where there's no flexibility in a situation. But there might be groups of people, guys that have very certain personalities that really like that structure and really like that about each other. So perhaps, a very strict structure might be something that works for some people, but I think in general it would be pretty difficult. Another situation that I don't think would work very well, or kind of might be impossible, is a situation where you have an alpha guy and he has a series of boyfriends and they're all in the, kind of a group, but there's one guy that gets to decide the thing that makes decisions for everyone else, and no one else kind of gets to say. They have to submit to the alpha, and I think that would be a situation that will not last. It might be fun for a little while for some people, but in the long run, I've heard of situations that were somewhat like that, and it wasn't healthy for a lot of the people. So I think that would be a form and a type of relationship that might not work. And another thing, I've talked about thruples a little bit. I think having 3 people in a group, of course it's possible. I've seen and heard of a few that have lasted for many years, decades even. But in general, I think 3 is a very difficult number, because anytime you have some kind of divisive idea in the group, if there's 2 people taking the sides of an issue, and then as soon as the third guy picks a side, that puts the other person by themselves. And I think that's over and over, that's going to be something that's going to make it very difficult in a long-term situation. Of course, it's possible with the right other characteristics and trusting each other and communicating and all those things. I think it's possible, but I think throuple would be a difficult situation. And this is a little trivia you might not know. If you've heard of ménage à trois, that actually means a household of 3. It's not just 3 people in a relationship. It's actually referring to a household with 3 people. So you can have ménage à trois, ménage à quatre, ménage à cinq, ménage à six. I think a ménage à huit would be good. So there's a little French information for you. Another thing that I think might be difficult for a relationship is if there's too many people. And this could vary depending on the personalities in the group. Perhaps you have people that were raised in maybe they're only children, or they only had one sibling, and they just aren't used to being in a situation or relationships and being close with a lot of people all the time. So I think for people with that situation, maybe just having 4 or 5 people would be enough, or maybe too much. So maybe just 3 or 4 would be good for people like that. But for other people, it might be more comfortable to handle 6, 7, 8 people in a relationship. But I think once you get above 10, 11, 12 people, it's just once again, it kind of depends on the type of relationship. But I think it's difficult to manage close relationships and to maintain those once it gets to too many people. And perhaps you have a really good group of people and you have a couple people that are really good at organizing and keeping things going and exciting for everyone. So if that's the situation, it may work. But in general, I think having too big of a group might be something that would be difficult. So that type of relationship might not work. So those are a few different types of relationships, both that some ideas to think may be good or might not be good. Sometimes looking at the things that aren't going to work for you can help you figure out what would be good for you. So anyways, that's a little bit of a follow-up from the last video, and hope you have a good one, and till the next time, bye.